Apologies. Thanks, Renee. Don't know what I'd do without you.
Thanks, Bubbles.
Should have yelled out earlier. Anyway, so I'm not going to go back on the earlier introduction. I think you're all pretty aware of where we're going. I've come to show people how the new way to explore the new version of JRI polling. Now, there is another way that you will get into JRI polling. You can get in through it through JewishGen. JewishGen, as you probably all know, is probably the major Jewish database for anyone worldwide in any location. The complete list of databases is self-explanatory. You've got Eastern Europe, Belarus, Latvia, Poland. Now,
Max,
when you go into Poland,
sharing?
because I'm doing the Polish side of things initially.
Should you be sharing?
Oh, God, Rodney.
Sorry.
Please interrupt me at any time. Okay. I've gone to JewishGen to show another way to get into JRI Poland. I admire JewishGen, or I prefer in many ways, because it gives you pretty well every database that's pretty well available worldwide that has links with JewishGen. Because I was speaking on Poland, the JRI Poland does not appear on independently, but when you search Poland, and when I'm searching Purple as I was earlier, and I'm going to go all regions, and you will find that down here, there's 268 records. These are the ones that are available on JRI Poland. This will automatically take you to the new, or to the legacy database, sorry. It's only when you go into Town Explorer, like I showed you before, where you go into the new generation or next generation. As I just like to point out, you can still get into JRI Poland through JewishGen. It's an automatic link when you search Poland. Rodney and others will show you how you can, through this database or through the direct database, go into various other countries. Bubbles is an expert on Lithuania and Lithuania more so because of her roots with South Africa. So all our committee members have expertise in various things. If there is anyone that wants to ask me a question on the Polish side of things, please unmute yourself now. I'll stop sharing and ask a question if you need be, but unmute yourself.
Max, quick question.
Yeah.
I've got family Wold and Perkles. What does Perkle mean? You've combined it to Perkle Wold.
Well, Wold, as we all know, is forest, or the German derivative of forest. I have found Perkelwalds oh, you asked me what Perkle means. Perkle means a very fine fabric.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
And Wold is forest, and most of the Perkelwalds, because of that, were tailors, not because of the name, but because that's how probably they selected Perkelwald.
So would my family Perkle originally been Perkelwald, or just Perkle?
No. Perkle, in my opinion, I've tried to connect with Perkles. There could be, look, to be honest, there could be some DNA link with Perkles, but there's a couple of Perkles in Melbourne and we're no way related. Right. Because Perkle is not necessarily found in this area, it's found all over Poland. If the Perkle came from the Lublin-Zindlich area, there is a chance they could be related. I don't know if you've got Perkles. What area are they from, Jeff?
From Amshonov, Mishonov, in just south of Warsaw.
Well, I would say probably not related to Perkelwalds, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay,
but I mean, you can always investigate, you know, it depends what time they were in below Warsaw.
Yeah.
But if it was pre-1900, I doubt if they would have been related.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Anyone else have a query on JRI Poland or anything? All right. Terry, do you want to start on GRUK free? I'll allow you to share first.
Right, okay.
Hang on, I've got
Okay,
to
so go down
unshare.
to,
I've got to unshare this first.
okay.
Give me a second. Or have I?
You-
Can't see. Oh, here.
So shall I try to share screen and see
Try
what
to
happens?
share, but I'm not sure if I've unshared. I
Oh.
can't see my. Can you still see my Jewish Gen thing?
No.
No.
Oh, well, then I'm probably unshared. So you can share now, Terry.
Okay, so,
Now, Terry
Right.
did a presentation not long ago on UK research, but I thought it'd be a good idea for her to give a live example of the way she, and if you want, use your own search names, Terry, if you wish.
yeah, can I, 2 seconds, the dog is being returned. Perhaps somebody, Max, can you maybe go to Rodney or somebody while I just get this dog in?
Sorry?
I just have to retrieve my dog. He's been brought back to me.
Okay.
Me 2 ticks.
Rodney?
What do you want me to demo?
Well, you've got a wide expertise. I mean, we can talk on National Archives, we can talk on Trove. Are you ready, Terry?
Yeah, now what I have done is I've opened BMD through Google, but I'm not quite sure. So it's just at the moment, I'm just on the internet, so I'm not quite sure how to share that.
Well, if you go back to the Zoom screen, your home Zoom screen, there'll be a share button at the bottom in green.
Yeah, I've got that.
We'll click on that.
Well, it says it says host disabled participant screen sharing. So somehow you've disabled that.
I'll check again. Sorry. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so now let's see what happens. Okay, all right. So yes, when I did my presentation about 3 weeks ago, this was one of the websites I talked about. And although your relatives, perhaps your immediate relatives, may never have decided to emigrate to the UK or travel to the UK, maybe you never know. So it's a good idea, just as a point of interest and maybe as a starting point, to go on to Free BMD, which is Births, Marriages and Deaths UK. And you'll see on the extreme left-hand side that there is a search button, which you would click onto. And is this going to work for me? Okay, so it's quite useful just at least to begin to find out if you may have had any relatives who were in the UK, which of course would be England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. And you have a choice. You can either click on all, in which case the name will be searched through all the records of BMD, or if you want to be quite specific, you might just do one. So I'm going to click on birth. I'm going to put the surname in of, let's see, I'll do my mum. So her surname was Prashka and her first name is Margaret, and it doesn't matter whether you use uppercase or not. Her mother's maiden name was Siegel. So I will do that. And then you put a date range in. So I'll put, I know exactly when she was born, but I'll put March 1927 to December 1928. She was born in October. Hope this is going to work. I'll leave choosing any counties or districts. I do know where, but sometimes if you don't know, just leave it blank. And then you click on to find. And let's see what happens. Ah, and there she is. Prashka Margaret P. Yes, it confirms her mother's maiden name. Now, this information here, the Croydon 2A and 402, if you actually wanted a copy of the person's birth certificate, you need to have this information. And one of the things I talked about in my presentation was that if you're going to order birth, death, or marriage certificates from the General Records Office in the United Kingdom, you need to have this information. Croydon refers to the district that the birth was registered in. 2A refers to the volume of the index, if you like, and 402 refers to the page. So if you have that information, it's much easier to locate that document. On the other hand, what it also does, if you weren't sure if you'd had a relative who had lived in the UK at any time, this confirms that, as long as you know most of the information. And then, of course, what you can go, if you're not sure, if you had a problem, you could revise the query. So if you click on that, then you could do something else. So maybe I will do my father. In fact, if I go back, hopefully we'll go back, I will do, in fact, a new query. I won't do revise because I'll do dad. So I'll do birth for him. Now, our family name used to be Abramovich, then it was changed to Abrahams, and then it was legally changed to Ashton in the mid to late 1930s. So my father was probably born, because he was born 1924. So I'm going to put in Abramovich. If that doesn't work, then I'll put in Abraham. So his name was Cyril. His mother's maiden name was Glynnett. And he was born in June, so I'll do 1923 to December 1924. And then I go again, I'll do find and we'll see what comes up. Right, so it says, sorry, found no matches. So now I'll revise the query. And this time I will do Abraham's. And let's see what happens. No, they still haven't found him. Okay, so we keep plodding along. So what I would do is maybe I'll take the S out, just do Cyril Abraham, and then see what happens. No, well, apparently he hasn't been born. So, so anyway, it could be there for all sorts of reasons, because in some of the documents I found relating to dad's side, sometimes it's Abraham, Abrahams, Abram, Abrams. So you might go through all those configurations. So certainly free BMD is often a good start to see if you may have had any relatives who were born there, died there, or who married there.
If I can just interrupt.
Sure.
Sometimes searching with less information is better than searching with more. I did the search with mother's maiden name Glynnett and the year range, and I found him, but a different spelling of Abrahamovich.
Okay, so did you keep the Cyril or you took the Cyril out?
No, you can leave the Cyril in.
Okay.
I didn't use the Cyril, but
okay, yes. So it's got the T. Yeah.
Less is more.
Yes. So then again, right. So again, you've got the birth is registered in Hackney. That's the volume number 1B, and that's the page. Yes. So
Terry, it's Bernie here. If you go back to that previous or do the revised query, another thing with that, if you were perhaps to remove Glynnett from the spousal surname, and if you put maybe Cohen as the surname, rather than do a search on all Cyril Cohens that may have been born that time, next to the search button is a count button, and that will just provide you with a list of how many have been found without the details. So if you've got a fairly common name, it's often worthwhile to just do the count to see how many you're going to get back. So that would show that there were 8 Cyrils born in that particular period with a spousal mother surname of Cohen during that time. So if you wanted to, so you put the mother's surname, if you put Cohen as the main surname, it would probably come up with a lot more records.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Bernie, because I've never used that
Yeah, because
before, so
if
it's
you
great.
if you put Cohen then as the main surname, you're obviously going to get a lot of records. So in that particular case, you probably want to have as much extra data as you possibly can to drill down into the correct record.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a really good resource, and I recommend it to everybody. And thanks, Bernie and Rodney, for those pieces of information. That's great.
Oh, Terry, I just
Yes.
noticed there that there's the option for the different Soundex type things. If you'd put in a
Yeah.
phonetic search or something,
done-
you might
yes.
have found it.
I have done that as well with other surnames. So I've done that sometimes. So usually I start off with what I know, then as it gets worse and worse, and I start to do, you know, the phonetic search surnames and so on. And often I have found them that way as well. So, yep, absolutely agree, Helen. That's really useful.
Terry, question, when you find these listing, can you actually see the document, or do you then have to pay to see and get a copy of the document?
When you've got the details and you want to order it, then you have to pay for it. You won't see it.
Okay.
Unless somebody kindly has uploaded it, if you've got a subscription with Ancestry or Find My Pass, if somebody else has done it. But no, I've always had to order them and get them that way. And I think
How do
I
you
said,
order them from Australia?
how do
and
you order them from Australia? Because once you've got this information, then you go on to the General Records Office, which I mentioned 3 weeks ago. And again, did you get the PDF that was sent to everybody? I think
Yes.
Bubble sent it out to everybody a few
Yes.
days ago, which listed all the internet resources I mentioned. Did you watch my presentation about 3
No, I
weeks
was
ago?
away, unfortunately, I missed it.
Do you want to just briefly go to that website?
Yeah, I can go into that one. Okay, so let me okay. So I'm going to I'll stop sharing
Yeah.
this. So where it's okay, so I'll stop sharing this. Just give me 2 ticks while I go, and I'll close that one. I'm just going to close that one. I'm just going to open General Records. I haven't disappeared completely. Right, it's just opening up. So now I need to go into Zoom and share screen, and this one. Okay, so the website is General Records Office UK, and this will be the first page that you will see. And then you scroll down, and where it says you can order certificates online, you click on that.
Mhm.
And hopefully, okay. And then this is the page you see. Now, if you haven't registered, where it says register as an individual, you need to do that. But I have, so I just have to put my complete email address in. The password is already there. I log in. Okay, and I haven't actually ordered this birth certificate, so I've now got to try, and I'll go to return to the GRO indexes. So I'll decide that I want to order, say, my father's birth certificate. So the year the birth was registered, you just scroll down, go to 1924. You should always choose this option because they'll go backwards or forwards by 2 years. So now that I know the correct spelling of that was used for, and I've got it down here, and I'll put his name in. And what I'll do instead of, I won't do exact matches. I'll just do phonetically similar. You have to smell. And I won't do anything else, and we'll just see what happens. And then you just click on search. And hopefully, I can't see if it's going around. I presume it is. Anything happened?
Yeah, it's spinning.
Sorry.
It's spinning.
Oh, is it? Because I can't see because I've
Yeah.
got the that black bar across everything. I don't know why it's taking so long.
But I think you've indicated quite clearly the route or route to go through anyway.
Yeah, and so that theoretically should come up. And then if there was more than one Cyril Abramovich, I would choose the correct one. Why is it not?
Don't know. It's,
I'm not sure that it got search.
No, it's going round and round.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can see it. I've just moved the screen sharing bar.
could be internet, could be anything.
It could be. It's maybe everybody's on the internet this afternoon. But as I said, what would happen then is it would find him and it would bring up the information of the district the birth was registered. And then at the, Max, do you want me to go into my, I can go into my slideshow really quickly, which showed that page.
No, I don't. I don't think it's necessary. I think
Okay.
you've sort of shown Jeff anyway the way to go through.
Mhm.
And then
Okay.
once it comes up, there will be a little circle you click into to order the document, and
Yeah.
then you pay by credit card. The cheapest way is to order it as a PDF because it'll be emailed to you. If you want a paper document, it's a lot more expensive and it'll
Yeah.
take much longer.
All right.
I would just say before I finish, if you order marriage certificates from them, the only way you can get them is to be posted, and they're about 30 Australian dollars. So, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and-
$27 I paid, but it was a long time ago.
I beg your pardon?
I paid $27, but it was quite a few years ago now.
It's about $30, $35 now, depending on the exchange rate.
Mm.
It's not
Are
too
there any-
terrible.
Are there any restrictions
Oh,
on
Sorry, there you are. Sorry, took a while.
Yeah. Are there any
Okay,
restrictions on dates and who can order them?
yes, yes.
Yep,
When
here's
I
it.
scroll down and if I go back, oh, no, it won't let me do it. Will it let me go back this way? No, it's
You have to
decided to
prove
be.
you're
It does. It goes
right?
back. Maybe I can't remember, the late 1830s, 1840s, something like that. That's the earliest, and the latest. I think, I'm guessing because unless I go back into it, about the 1940s,
Okay.
maybe early 50s. So yeah, there's a definite range
Right.
of years.
And do you have to prove you're related in some way?
No,
Or can
no.
anybody do it?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. So shall I stop screen sharing now,
Thank
Max?
you, Terry. Yeah, that was great. Thank you for that. Much more professional than my lousy.
Yours wasn't. Yours was lovely.
Max, there's a question in the chat.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Thank you for that. Where's my chat? There it is. Esther Bailey, Rudenska died 1939. Hang on. Trying to find my grandparents' grave. They were buried in the Lodge Cemetery. I've checked the latest Lodge archives and I've been unsuccessful. I have a photo of my father beside each of the graves after the war. Am I doing something wrong? I've actually been to the Lodge Cemetery. I think some of us here might have been. It's very, very well, generally in good condition. And if the graves were, I'll tell you what, have you tried, JRI Poland has I'm just going back to mine for a minute. I'm going to show you a website where I found my grandmother's grave here in Warsaw. But I think this society, it's called the Foundation. I'm going to share my screen. It's called the Foundation for Documentation of Jewish Cemeteries Worldwide, in Poland, sorry. This is a Warsaw, but they actually do cemeteries throughout Poland. The fellow who's in charge of the cemetery now is in charge of the Warsaw Cemetery, but his website, I'm just trying to find, give me a second. Warsaw. Now, this is where I found even though my grandmother lived and was born in Białopodlask, she was buried in Warsaw. And I had the fortune of going to Warsaw on a genealogical conference, and the headstone's still there today. Now, I know that this crowd, Foundation for the Documentation of Jewish Cemeteries in Poland, the fellow that runs that, I forget his name offhand, actually did a presentation to us months ago. Witold, correct. Thank you, Terry. And
Bubbles.
I'm sure there is a database for Lodge, or if not, he would have a database for Lodge, where I can suggest that you look through that. Who made the inquiry? Did you put your hand up or open? I still don't know.
It was, who
Was
was it?
Janet.
Oh, Janet.
Yeah.
Janet's not with us. I don't think she's left.
No,
Oh,
she's
she's there. She's
muted.
just not showing herself and she's muted
Okay, well, that's
herself.
all right. Well, I hope that suffices, Janet. It's the only. Your sound's not working. No, there's something wrong with your sound, Janet.
Chipmunks.
That's all right.
It looks a bit green.
Yeah. Why don't you contact us one-on-one and we might be able to help you further. If you write to us, we can't hear you properly because it's coming through as a garbled conversation. Sorry, Janet.
Sounds like Cousin It.
Got a good memory. But I hope we can give you a little clue there. It seems that you've done a lot. We can't understand you. I'm sorry, Janet. If you've checked the latest Lodge archives and been unsuccessful, I'm not sure. I might give you Witold's address. He might be able to help you. Could you email us, please? We can't hear you properly. I'm sorry, Janet. I'm going to mute you, Janet, because it's not work. Oh, sorry.
Sounds like the chipmunks.
Yeah.
Well, there her picture's showing now.
Is
The
that-
ceiling. We saw a
Can't see
ceiling.
her. Put yourself in the screen. No, I'm going to mute you, Janet, because we can't understand you. We cannot understand you at all.
Great shot of the ceiling.
Yeah.
Shame.
Okay. I'm going to, was there any, I think that was the only question, wasn't it? Has anyone got any other queries, or perhaps me, or we get on and show another venue, another
Yeah, Max, I have another question.
yeah, go ahead, man.
My mum had a cousin who was a Warsaw ghetto fighter,
Yeah,
survived and ended up on the Warsaw Ghetto Fighters kibbutz in Israel.
yeah,
Not been able to find any information on JRI about her birth or about her parents at all.
yeah.
She was born around about 1920, 21, 22, but no matter what I do, I cannot find anything on JRI relating to this woman's birth or her family.
You say Warsaw.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was born in Warsaw.
Warsaw records are very, very thin. Most of them were destroyed during the war.
Right.
Unless she was born in a shtetl outside of Warsaw where there might be remnants. But you will find very little in Warsaw. Occasionally there are things coming up that they're discovering, but the pre-war Warsaw, the records are very, very limited, mate. It's a shame, I know.
Max, is there some restriction about it being only 100 years, 1921? Because I've also not been able to find records in
If it's a
1920.
birth record, certainly there's
Yeah.
a 100-year restriction.
Yeah, so that could be the problem.
Yeah. Although I must say, there are many records that are becoming available now that JRI Poland is paying people to scan. after the fact. The birth records will remain closed until 100 years, but a lot of marriages and deaths are becoming available slowly on JRI Poland. I'm involved in a few of the projects myself.
Could I also suggest, Jeff, have you contacted the Jewish, what is it, Historical Society in Warsaw?
No, they're not in, they won't have much. I've been there personally, Rini. They have very little pre-war. They've got plenty of stuff from the war onwards.
But they might have some information being that this person was a Warsaw Ghetto fighter.
Oh,
So
that could be.
Look, the museum in Israel has some information about her activities during the Warsaw Ghetto uprising and afterwards. But prior to that, her birth and her parents, I just can't find any information about that.
Do you know the names of the parents?
Yes.
Well, and if they're not available through JRI, then obviously they've come into that bracket of being destroyed.
Right. Yeah.
Or even records that people have available in various other towns, there's always gaps. There's gaps between various years. The ledgers are missing. The ledgers might have been destroyed.
Yeah.
Various reasons why. When you search on JRI Poland, you'll find that there are various gaps in these years sometimes of various records. For example, I'll just show you Biela Podlaska. You can see there that the births 1826 to 31 and 37 to 77, and various marriages only are available, and deaths only various available. So
Not showing your screen. Oh, there it comes.
yeah. So you can see here there's always a few gaps, and unfortunately the records, even if they were available, might have fallen into one of those gaps.
Yeah, sure. All right, thank you.
No worries, mate. Anyone else have any queries before we move on to another website?
I have one, may I?
Yes, please.
I've been having struggles with our friend at MyHeritage,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of people putting up members of their family onto their own trees,
Yeah.
but they just link anyone. They pick it up from your website, your own, and say, oh, it's that name. Well, he must be a brother, and we'll attach him. How can you do something to contact
Where are they
MyHeritage?
getting this from? What website are they getting this from?
Either Ancestry or MyHeritage from others.
Your tree's not private, in other words.
No, it's for people to see. So, like,
Well, that's
I
the
can
risk you
also.
take.
Beg pardon?
That's the risk you take. You see, I've got a tree on Ancestry. My family tree maker links with Ancestry, but my tree on Ancestry is private. If someone clicks on one of the names that's in my tree, I am made aware of it, but the person can only contact me through Ancestry to verify the information.
No, I understand all that. I haven't even got the trees up, but I can see that someone else who's got the tree and that has the family, that other people have grabbed it, put it, attached it on, and
well, MyHeritage and Genie, who they bought out, were the problem there. That was pretty well open to just about anyone, and anyone just grabbed anyone's information. I think MyHeritage has improved, and you can now have a private tree. I know someone on this screen gave me a link to his MyHeritage tree, but he held it as private. But he actually gave me access so I can enable to help him in some way or other. But I think they have improved their act recently.
I was going to make the comment that I think, as Max said, I think Genie is owned by MyHeritage. And I know on Genie sometimes people do that. And if they find things on Genie, I think they just as you say, Rini, grab them and stick them on MyHeritage.
Mm.
And I know I've read lots of emails and heard lots of discussions that when people have tried to do something with MyHeritage and sort this problem out, it's very, very difficult. So
Okay, yeah.
I don't use MyHeritage anymore. I just stick either with Ancestry or Find My Past.
Mm.
Yeah, well, with all my family in Israel, etc., the huge MyHeritage families, and that's where I get a lot of information from, and I have to stick with it. But the one biggest problem that they have as well is they do these matches, you know, Super Search and all the rest, and they give you a match. You can't reject it. You can't tell them it's not a match. You can acknowledge it is a match, but you can't reject it.
I've tried to repair stuff on MyHeritage and it's hopeless.
We should all
Yeah.
together send a huge letter across to what's his name at MyHeritage?
Daniel Horowitz.
Yes.
Yeah, Horowitz, and tell him we're not happy.
He would turn away. I went up to him and mentioned the problem I had, and he said bad luck and walked off.
Oh, that's very helpful.
Attitude,
Very
wrong
helpful.
attitude. Shrugged his shoulder and walked off.
All right,
Anyway.
thanks, Max.
Rodney, one of our major experts, what do you choose
About
to talk about,
Trove.
Rodney?
Trove.
Trove?
Rodney
You've got
needs to
unmute
unmute.
yourself.
Needs to unmute.
Rodney needs to unmute. Okay, we've done that. Let's see, how do I do this? Is that the one? What have we got? No, it's that one. It's that one, is it? Sorry, I've got a couple of screens here and I'm not finding the one I wanted to find. Okay, let's try again, that one. Okay, so Trove is from the National Library of Australia. It has, well, lots of Australian newspapers. We're going to search for, well, my family. And my family didn't arrive in Australia till 1947. So any of these earlier references are not related. But if we choose the 1940s, and we get a number of references in the Jewish Herald, which is a defunct newspaper. And there's an article showing that within about 3 months of arriving in Australia, my uncle was already involved in the Jewish Recreation Club, which I think is a predecessor of Maccabee.
Probably Alcoa.
Well, it certainly the soccer turned into Hakoah Soccer Club. Because I know my uncle got life membership of Hakoah by the late 1950s.
You can also see on the bottom right there's reference to the Ajax Cricket Club. So the name
yeah,
Ajax
okay,
was
so
already
Ajax
in use at that time.
Yeah, already existed.
Rodney, Maccabee was already active in Australia by then. I have a photo of my dad in the Victorian wrestling team in the 30s. So that they were already going.
Okay, well, this soccer section turned into Hakoah.
Yep.
Hakoah Sydney or Hakoah in Melbourne?
Melbourne.
Also, Rodney, I wanted to say that about the searching in a particular time period. If you go to advanced search, you can pick your time period. You can put down dates and just search within that time.
Yeah, I usually find it's easier to just trim it down first by decade and then by year, then by month.
Yeah, but it's strange.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of searches on Trove, so
Yep. It's
um,
my favourite place.
I must admit I have not used the advanced search much, if at all. I usually do this start wide and then drill down.
I only use the advanced. Yeah, they changed it slightly so that I just say that if you do use the advanced and you go to you get your results and then you want to go back to it, don't click back. You need to click back on advanced search in the upper right, because if you click back, it'll go back to a clear form. You'll lose your previous search item. So if you wanted to go back and edit them, you would need to click on advanced search in the upper right, and that'll take you back to your previous search, and then you can edit it, add names or whatever you want to do.
Thanks, Phil, for that extra advice. Good on you, mate.
No worries.
And so in July 48, the executive of HACOA was meeting at my grandfather's cafe in Chapel Street. So you can find all sorts of stuff in Trove and have endless fun or frustration.
Can I ask you a question, Rodney? Why didn't you just go to Victoria first?
Sorry?
Why didn't you just click on Victoria?
Well, I could have, but it wouldn't have helped much. It would only get rid of a handful of references.
Okay.
And so what wasn't worth doing.
Fair enough.
Well,
But generally, when I go, I just go to Victoria. But
yeah, well, most of the time I'm searching for death notices.
yeah,
Well, they'll usually be in Melbourne. Sometimes there'll be one in an interstate paper that will give me the information I need. So it depends whether you're getting too many answers or not enough.
yeah. No, good.
I think all the old Jewish news records or the copies of all the old Jewish newspapers are all now on Trove as well.
A lot of them. And down here you can see, can you see this here? They list the sponsors. So David Lesney, one of your wife's relatives?
Yes, my wife's uncle was a major donor to get
and
that.
an anonymous donor. National Library of Israel contributed. Some guy called Eitan Lee Levi, the Historical Society, I think the Sydney branch,
Yeah.
the Beeson Family Foundation, and the Embassy of Israel. So they all chipped in to get this project done.
There's a lot of money. Yeah.
Yes, it was a sizable six-figure sum in
Yeah.
total.
Yeah, I think I made some inquiries years ago about, you haven't done any of the Jewish newspapers. And I think they told me it was something like $1 a page. So that doesn't sound a lot, but when you talk about 50 issues a year and a dozen pages or more per issue, and then you talk about 100 years or so, it gets pretty expensive.
Rodney, could you have a go at showing us about the Historical Society journals? I've had endless trouble trying to see if I could find anything useful on that.
Historical Society, where are they?
AJ.
You spelt it wrong.
That would make a difference. Okay. Oh, looks like it's
No, you've.
responding slowly. Okay, so we don't want burials though. We want the journal.
So it's really just taking you to the AJHS site.
Yeah, so they have, looks like you can get PDF links. You pick a copy. Any particular year?
No, I've just been exploring how it all hangs together in
Okay.
terms of the documentation of Jewish records worldwide. And I haven't managed to.
So, so there's January 1960.
As long as it's it's before the last 2 years, that'll be all right. I know what I've been looking for is a list of, for instance, journal titles
That's-
over
that's
those
not
years, and that I can never find.
That's not the Historical Society Journal.
But what it seems like you have to take a punt and guess what an article, what you might be interested in. You can't actually see a list of the journal titles for X year or for all of the years, so that you can say, well, that looks like something I might be interested in.
Okay, well, you can, I think, search by articles. So if we type Ballarat.
I've got one in front of me, Rodney, and there's no heading. It's just got the Historical Society Journal and the volume number.
There you go.
Well, this looks like quite recent stuff.
I can't read that. That's too small for me.
Okay, and then it says member to log in.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, I am a member, but I don't know if I'm not, I don't know if I've got a password to log in. So I think we'll have to do this off later.
All right, I can fiddle with that. But
So,
I guess I was making a mistake. I was trying to find them on Trove rather than letting Trove direct me to the AJA website.
Trove, okay, I don't know. Is the journal,
Well, the journal is supposedly on Trove. It's a pity Liz isn't in because she'd know.
okay, well, it probably won't be under newspapers. It'll be under magazines.
Yes, that was the other thing with the category, that journals didn't seem to be a category.
What about if you actually put journal after the AJHS in the search bar?
You do sort of get some things, but not what I was looking for.
Hmm.
It's all right, Rodney, maybe we'll sit together sometime and see what we can do.
Or we could just start Trove from the very top.
You're going to go to the pub? Well, we nearly finished here.
Yeah, it hasn't found the journal. It's only found newspaper items.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute, but wait, there's more. Journal, under images, maps and artifacts. But keep scrolling. Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Well, they were published as a CD a few years ago. That may be what that's referring to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, keep scrolling, I think, is the answer. Okay, who's next?
Stop sharing. Who else wants to have a go? Rini, do you want to talk on Jewish Gen?
I don't know what.
Well, I will if you want.
Oh, really? What I'd like to know from Rodney is some hints on searching, as in stars and question marks and brackets and all of that, how you do more detail.
Wild characters.
wild cards.
Gary.
Wild cards.
Well, that is going to vary from search engine to search engine. So there aren't generic answers. Some sites that they will take what you give them and automatically include. So if you search for red, it'll find Fred, whether you asked for it or not, and others won't.
If you don't know the spelling and you want to actually put in a wild card so that, it might look for some variance.
I'm just trying to think of a site to try.
Well, does Trove do that? Can you use wildcards in Trove?
Don't think so. Well, let's go try advanced search and see what it says. Oh,
You're not sharing.
I thought something was wrong. So newspapers and gazettes, it's not indicating anything about wildcards here. So you might have to click on help. I find that Trove does sometimes give you things that are a near match to what you typed in. So it looks like it does some of that without you asking.
Can you ask that when it comes up with a whole lot of records, I can see that there's something particular that keeps coming up with this one person, not interested in that. Can you say not something?
Again, on Trove, I don't think so.
Maybe there without these words, maybe you could.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can say without these words.
Right.
But then that may, well, depending on the circumstance, that may chop out some of the things you're really looking for. So yeah, you could certainly try that. So if that was you could say not without Sydney, for example, and hopefully lose most of the New South Wales things.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anyone else?
Rodney, I've got a question totally unrelated to Trove.
Yeah.
Seeing that you're the recognised expert on German genealogy, my grandparents moved from Poland and migrated into Germany to Frankfurt in the early 1900s, along probably with hundreds of thousands of other Polish Jews looking for work. Was there any documentation or records kept of their movement into Germany by the authorities at that time, or did people just come and go as they pleased?
There was a system of basically a registration of residence. So you will find residence cards, which basically give name, age, date and place of birth for every member of the household, and what date they moved into a particular address and what date they moved out. But it's a matter of finding those records, and they may not exist for every city. I think for Berlin, the pre-war records I think have gone, which is a great pity because I could get a lot from them. They do exist, for example, for Danzig, now called Gdansk. They do exist for the city of Posen,
and
also in Poland, and both of those cities are online. But Berlin is a problem. Frankfurt, I have no idea.
Okay.
But there are also city directories, and a lot of those are indexed on Ancestry. And so they can tell you where people were living and what occupation they were following.
Mhm.
And for Berlin, there is another site which has, I think, about 150 years of these directories. So from 1799, pretty much every year until early World War II. And they don't list everybody, but they list most heads of households.
Mhm. So where do you find those lists?
Well, the Berlin one I can show you.
No, not really interested in the Berlin one. I'd be interested in Frankfurt, around that area.
Well, what I would do, it's a bit hit and miss, but I would look for, let's see if we can do a Google search. I'd put something like Frankfurt address book. Do you have a particular year?
About 1911, 1912.
Okay, and there's this wiki site which tends to have, and was it Frankfurt am Main or Frankfurt an der Oder?
No, Frankfurt am Main, but actually probably Offenbach, which is the other side of the river. But it'd be the same thing, I imagine. Offenbach, yeah.
Well, they've got one for 1937-38.
Yeah, they were still there then.
And just have to click on the correct link.
Okay, I don't read German, unfortunately.
Well, it's in alphabetical order. Einwohner means residents.
Mhm.
So starting from page 47. So what surname?
Ackerman, probably Kerman.
Yeah, this. And what's the first name?
Well, Moishe Morris.
Is it Moritz, who was a tailor?
Yes, yes.
Okay, at
Oh,
Hinterstrasse
Bieber.
10.
Yeah, exactly. That's where they lived, in Bieber. Yeah, that's him exactly. Oh, where is it? Okay.
Okay, so we're actually able to bring up the page.
Oh,
Mhm.
And there he is, Moritz, Ackermann, Schneider, Hinterstrasse 10.
Hinterstrasse. Okay.
Yeah, so the
Fantastic.
behind street.
Hinterstrasse.
Yeah.
Just before you do that, take it away. I want to photograph that because when I went there, I couldn't find that street.
They might have changed the name.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a church at the end of the street. I thought they were in another street, Hinterstrasse 10.
Yeah.
Bieber. Yeah, that's exactly them. Yeah. Thank you. That's very good. So if there's no older books which would have shown if they lived somewhere else, maybe in the 20s or.
Well, the question is whether they exist. I didn't, on this site, that was the only directory that I found for Offenbach.
Okay.
There may be other ones, but they may not have been scanned.
Yeah.
Online.
Okay. Thank you. That's great. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
And you can navigate around the page if it didn't put you on the right spot.
Yeah. But it doesn't say who's in the household or anything like that?
No, this is just a city directory.
Okay. All right.
But that gives you information that you can use if you write off to the archives and say, do you have the residence cards?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'll Google map that, see if that street's still there.
Okay, well, we'll do that.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Do
Now,
that.
I do have another question, a little bit related to that. So when my father came to Australia in 1938, when the war broke out, he was interned in an enemy aliens camp at a place called Captain's Flat near Canberra. I've never been able to find anything else about it, this place, or any of the records there. Do you know anything about that?
I can't say I've heard of that one.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Any other queries from people?
Oh, well, one other thing.
Yeah.
I recently was sent a letter or a postcard written in Polish from one of my relatives. I need it translated. I suppose I can put it up on Jewish
Put it on
Gen.
Google Translate, or the other thing is if you take a photo and upload it onto either
Viewmate.
Jewish Gen or the Jewish London genealogical Facebook page, there are people there who can translate Polish for you.
London, what was it? Jewish London what?
Jewish, I'll email it to you, Helen. It's one of the Facebook pages I use quite a bit, and they've been very helpful.
Oh, okay, because if you put it up on Jewish Gen, you don't always get an answer.
Yeah, I know, and sometimes they take a long time.
I've been getting immediate answers from Viewmate.
Yeah, Viewmate, I find very good.
Can I just answer Jeff's question about Captain's Flat?
Oh, yes, please.
It's an old gold mining town outside Canberra. My husband played football there. That's how I know about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My dad sent a postcard, which I still have a picture of it, of the town, or not town, it's just a few tents and a shop. But I would have liked to find the records of, you know, what it was all about there.
Have a look on Trove. Maybe there's something on Trove about it.
Yeah, I'll try that. Thank you.
Or the National Archives.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Anyone else?
It's quiet.
All quiet? Anyway, a reminder to all who are not on the committee here, if you do need any assistance at any time, do not hesitate to contact us through the admin email address, and it'll be passed on to wherever our specialities lie, and hopefully that we can help you this way in the future. I think I've got to thank Jeff for asking all those questions. Otherwise, it would be a very boring session, but thanks, Jeff, and it was good. I think we all learn by watching others' queries, and I think this Trove thing, I can just show you quickly. I went on to Trove today and I put my name in. I'll share my screen. It's just a matter of interest because I wasn't aware of this thing. I put Maxwell in magazines, and the first article, which is in the Jewish Herald, was the first day pupils were, I'm not sharing it now. Now I'm sharing it. The first pupils to be enrolled at Victoria's Day School, which happened to be Mount Scopus. And you can see on the side there, I was one of the first pupils to attend. So I just thought it was an incredible resource, this Trove, apart from the fact that I found a little bit about myself. I didn't think I was newsworthy, but there you go. Okay. So thanks for those that did come up, and Rena, please be in touch if you need any assistance with that query. And Andy, I know I'm still working on your stuff and you've got to send me some paperwork. And unless there's anything else that someone would like to comment on.
I've got a point. I could translate Helen Gardner's greetings from Poland.
Okay.
Helen, you could get all my details from Max, and you could forward me, email me a copy of the postcard, and I can translate it and send it back to you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Send it back to Max.
Okay. All right, I'll get that. Thank you so much. That would be
You're
great.
welcome.
Terrific. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah.
Max,
I'll just put you in as a dealer.
I think genealogy depends mainly on random acts of kindness, and that was certainly one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're
May-
most welcome.
Yes, Rena?
Thank you for the offer, and I will take that up because I've got a couple of roadblocks. But does anyone know a professional translator from Polish into English who would translate like a larger volume of materials?
I think that Polaron group here in Melbourne
Yeah.
would do that.
Polaron. Yeah.
And there's a lady around the corner in Hawthorne Road that does Polish things as well. But Polaron would probably be able to do that for you.
How do you spell that? P-O,
Polaron.
okay.
And they're here in somewhere in Melbourne, but they organise things like Polish passports and Polish genealogy, and I'm sure they could.
But Rena, they're not cheap.
Yes, not cheap.
Not cheap. No.
but is it a large amount you're saying? Is it a whole book or what is the?
I believe so. Look, my father's first cousin died 2 weeks ago, and she's left a diary, a Polish diary, a diary
Handwritten?
in Polish. I don't know how big
Handwritten?
it is, but they just said they were going to get it translated, and I just thought this was a good opportunity to ask if anyone knew.
There are professional translators, but probably you just go on the internet anywhere in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
It's so much a page. It's handwritten, I assume, Rena.
I assume so too. I haven't
Which
seen it.
makes it a little harder, of course.
Thank you.
I extract Polish records and I've got to learn various people's handwriting to extract the Polish record. So I know how difficult it can be.
Thank you.
All the best.
I'm
Thanks
still
very
trying
much,
to-
everyone.
On that subject, can I just ask if we have anybody here in the group who's a fluent Yiddish reader?
I'm a Yiddish reader, but not fluent.
Okay, never mind. That's okay. I have a
I can, there are 2 or 3 in Melbourne, but I don't know how accessible they are.
That's okay. I've had a professional offer online.
Okay.
I just wondered if there was somebody local, somebody within the group.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's not a big thing.
I've got to tell you, I did a Holocaust interview for Spielberg many years ago in Yiddish, and the people, Spielberg generally puts a transcription out on the tape in English, but because it was Yiddish, they couldn't do it. So they saw my name on the tape. They contacted me and they asked me if I could translate the interview. I said, I can't, I'm not that good at Yiddish, but I certainly can get the gist of it. So what I did, I played the interview, which you can download, and I sort of paused it every now and then. And I said, well, this is what he said. This is what he implied. And at least I gave the family the gist of the story during the Holocaust. So, but that's my extent, unfortunately.
Can I recommend you contact Shalom Aleichem School? They teach Yiddish and there'll be Yiddish teachers there and they could put you onto
Oh,
some.
good idea.
Actually, and Danielle Chiswick is another.
Yeah,
person.
but she's not well at the moment, and I don't know how I would annoy her anyway.
Oh, okay. I haven't spoken to her for a while.
Yeah.
I was more friendly
I-
with
I-
Sister Doris.
Yeah, no, I saw.
I've had help from Shalom Aleichem teachers.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
Thanks.
Okay,
Yep.
terrific.
Can I just follow up? Does the Holocaust Museum have translators? Because this person was a Holocaust survivor.
No,
No. Okay.
no, I mean, there are people there, but certainly the ones that speak. I tell you what, there's a group called Polish, which I'm a member of, but I forget the name. Lena Fishman's on the board.
You
of
mean
it.
what is Australian Jewish Polish
Yeah,
Association,
that's the
whatever.
one. Australian Jewish Polish organisation.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, all. Thanks very much for your attendance, and we'll
Thanks,
see
Max.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Importantly,
Max, thanks
Yeah.
for all this.
our next meeting is on July the 24th with Nolan Altman from He's a Jewish Gen, but his baby is Jobar, Jewish Online Worldwide Burial Resource, and plaques. And he's got a very interesting talk. So if you're interested, please check in on Sunday, July the 24th.
And Max, could you please send me Andy's details?
I will, as soon as we hang up.
Right, thank you.
All the very best to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.